We continue now at the top of Daf Yud Zayin Amud Beis Mesechet Sanhedrin. This is Sanhedrin Daf 17b. This daf is sponsored by David Grossman. Thank you for your sponsorship. If you'd like to sponsor an Amud or a daf, see the description box below, and see the description box below to see how you can support this channel. On the previous Amud, Rav said that I can make an argument that is mitaher a sheretz, even though the Torah says a sheretz is tameh. I can make an argument to say that a sheretz should be tar, and the argument runs as follows: Uman nochash, if by a snake shememis umar betumah, that the snake kills and it causes an increase in tumah in the world, but yet tahar, yet a snake is tahar, that's not one of the shratzim. So sheretz, so when it comes to a sheretz, when it comes to a creepy crawly creature, she'eno memis, that it doesn't kill, umar betumah, it doesn't increase tumah in the world, eno din tar, certainly it should be tar, it should be pure. That's the argument Rav says that he can theoretically make, but the Gemara says velohi, but of course the argument is not actually true. Midi dihavi akotz bialma, because you could say the same thing about a thorn. A thorn can also do damage, it can also kill someone, and of course you would not use that argument to say that just like a kotz, just like a thorn is tar, so to a sheretz is tar. That's why the argument ultimately is not a good argument. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Yehuda Marav. Rav Yehuda says that Rav says, Kol ir she'ein ba shnayim ledaber ve'echad l'shmoa, any city that doesn't have two people that can speak all 70 languages and one person who can understand all 70 languages, ein moshivin ba Sanhedrin, so there you can't have a Sanhedrin, as we said in the previous Amud. The judges, it doesn't mean all of the judges on the Sanhedrin, but at least some of the judges in the Sanhedrin need to speak all 70 languages, and Rav is saying that that minimum number is two judges who can speak and one who can understand. And the Gemara says that in Beitar there were 3 judges that were able to speak all the languages. In Yavne there were 4, and who were the 4? Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yoshua, Rabbi Akiva. It was Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yoshua, and Rabbi Akiva. Shimon Hatimni don lifneim bekarka, and Shimon Hatimni, who didn't have smicha, so he would judge in front of them, but he would sit on the ground. Those were the 4. And the Gemara continues, Meisei, we have a question. The Brisa says, Shalish is chachma, if you have a 3rd judge that's able to speak all 70 languages, that is a wise Sanhedrin and Revius, and if you have a 4th, Ein lamala heimena, nothing could be greater than that. And Rashi explains, Shalish is chachma, Sanhedrin sheyesh ba shlosha medabrim b'shivim lashon, if you have a Sanhedrin where 3 of the judges can speak 70 languages, chachma yuksher, that's a wise and kosher bezdin, alma shlosha b'in ladabr. The point is, you see from this Brisa, it's not a minimum of 2, but a minimum of 3 that need to be able to speak in all of the languages. And so the Gemara answers, Hu damar ki haitana the Tanya. He says, this is referring to Rav. Rav will go like the Tana in the following Brisa, and the Brisa has an alternate gear. So the Brisa says shniya chachma, that if you have a 2nd, if you have 2 judges that are able to speak all the languages, that is a wise court. That's the minimum number, and that's what Rav said as well. And shlishis ein lamalahim, and if you have a 3rd judge, again, there's nothing greater than that. And the Gemara continues, L'meidin l'fnei chachamim. Anytime we find the expression of L'meidin l'fnei chachamim, that they learned before the chachamim, who is that referring to? That's referring to Levi Mei Rebbe. That's referring to Levi who would learn in front of Rebbe. Rashi says, L'meidin l'fnei chachamim, kol heicha de itmar. Anytime it's stated, L'meidin l'fnei chachamim, that phrase of L'meidin l'fnei chachamim, Hainu Levi, that refers to Levi, sheyalamad l'fnei Rebbe, that he would learn from Rebbe, he would learn in front of Rebbe. And the Gemara continues along these lines, Donin lefnei chachamim. Let's say we find the expression of Donin lefnei chachamim. Who does that refer to? Shimon ben Azai, v'Shimon ben Zoma, v'Chanan ha-Mitzri, v'Chananya ben Chachinoi. It refers to Shimon ben Azai, Shimon ben Zoma, Chanan ha-Mitzri, and Chananya ben Chachinoi. And the Gemara continues, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Masni Chamisha. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, he said there were actually 5 that such an expression refers to, and the 5 are Shimon, Shimon, v'Shimon, Chanan, v'Chananya. He adds a Shimon. Rashi explains, Rav Nachman most of Shimon Hatimni. Rav Nachman adds Shimon Hatimni to that group. V'chamishasan lo bo lezikna v'yoshvin bekarka. Those 5, they didn't reach the stage of elderliness, so to speak. They were always sitting on the ground. Umeshivin teshuvas kushis lezikenim, and they would respond towards the zakenim, towards the elders. V'hainu donin b'halacha. That's what the phrase means when it says donin lefnei chachamim. It means to say donin b'halacha. Again, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, he added a Shimon. He said that refers to those 5 individuals. And the Gemara continues along these lines, Rabboseinu Shebebavel, anytime the expression Rabboseinu Shebebavel is used, that's Rav U'Shmuel, that refers to Rav and Shmuel. Rabboseinu Sheberetz Yisrael, anytime the phrase Rabboseinu Sheberetz Yisrael is used, Rabbi Abba, that refers to Rabbi Abba. Dayone Gol, anytime it says the judges of the Golus. Karna, that refers to Karna. Dayone Deretz Yisrael, if it says Dayone Deretz Yisrael, Rabbi Ami v'Rabbi Asi, that refers to Rabbi Ami and Rabbi Asi. Dayone de Pumbedisa, if it says the judges of Pumbedisa, that's Rav Pava Bar Shmuel, that refers to Rav Pava Bar Shmuel. Dayone de Nahardoi, if it says the judges of Nahardoi, Ravada Bar Menume, that refers to Ravada Bar Menume. Sabe de Surah, if it says the elders of Surah, Rav Huna v'Rav Chisda, that refers to Rav Huna and Rav Chisda. Sabe de Pumbedisa, if it says the elders of Pumbedisa, Rav Yehuda v'Ravena, that refers to Rav Yehuda and Ravena. Charife de Pumbedisa, if it says the sharp ones of Pumbedisa, Eifa v'Avime, it refers to Eifa and Avimai. And the Gemara says, B'nei Rachva, that Eifa and Avimai, they were the sons of Rachva. And the Gemara continues, Amoroi de Pumbedisa, anytime it says the Amoroim of Pumbedisa, Rabba v'Rav Yosef, that refers to Rabba and Rav Yosef. Amoroi de Nahardoi, if the expression Amoroi de Nahardoi is used, Rav Chama, that refers to Rav Chama. Nahar B'loi Masnu, if the expression Nahar B'loi Masnu is used, Rami Bar Berebi, that refers to Rami Bar Berebi. Amri Bei Rav, if the expression Amri Bei Rav, they say in the yeshiva of Rav, if that's used, Rav Huna, that refers to Rav Huna. But the Gemara says, V'amar Rav Huna Amri Bei Rav, but didn't Rav Huna sometimes use that expression and say Amri Bei Rav, so clearly Amri Bei Rav is not referring to Rav Huna. And so the Gemara says, Ella, rather you have to say, what's Amri Bei Rav? Rav Hamnuna, that refers to Rav Hamnuna. And the Gemara continues, Amri B'ma'arava, if the expression Amri B'ma'arava, they said in the West, if that's used, Rabbi Yirmiyah, that refers to Rabbi Yirmiyah. Sholchu Mitam, if the expression Sholchu Mitam is used, they send from there, they send from Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina, that refers to Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina. And Mechaku Allah B'ma'arava, if the expression that they laughed about this in the West, if that's used, Rabbi Lozer, that refers to Rabbi Lozer. But the Gemara says, V'sholchu Mitam, L'divrei Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina, but don't we have, it says in the Gemara that they sent from there according to Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina. That does not sound like Sholchu Mitam refers to Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina if they're mentioning Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina. And so the Gemara says, Ella, rather, you're right, Epoch, you have to reverse it. Sholchu Mitam Rabbi Lozer, when it says Sholchu Mitam, it refers to Rabbi Lozer, Mechaku Allah B'ma'arava, but when it says Mechaku Allah B'ma'arava, Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina, that refers to Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, "V'kami yehei bo'ir v'yehei ru'uya l'Sanhedrin." How many people need to be in a city in order that it's fit to have a Sanhedrin? Meya ve'esrim, a total of 120 people. And the Gemara says, "Meya ve'esrim maya v'detayu." How do you get to the sum of 120 people? The Gemara explains, "Esrim u'shlosha keneged Sanhedrin katana." First, you have the 23 judges of that small Sanhedrin. V'shalosh shuros, and then you have 3 rows. Shal esrim u'shlosha, of 23 students that are sitting in front of him, in front of that Sanhedrin, learning from the Sanhedrin. That's 23 times 4. Harei tishim v'tarti, that brings you to 92. V'asara batzalonin shal beis hakneses, then you have 10 idlers in the synagogue. Every city has to have that. Harei meo trei, so you're adding 10 to 92. That's a total of 102. Ushnei sofrim, and the bezin needs to have 2 scribes. Ushnei chazanin, and the bezin needs to have 2 chazanim, which are like 2 shamoshim for the bezdin. Ushnei balei dinim, and then you're going to have 2 litigants. Ushnei edim, and 2 witnesses. Ushnei zomin, and 2 witnesses that are going to falsify those 2 witnesses. Ushnei zomei zomin, and then you'll have 2 witnesses that will falsify the witnesses that falsified the witnesses. And if you add all those together, harei me'avar beisar, now we have 114. V'tanya, and also we learned in a brisa, Kol ir she'ein ba'asara dvarim halolu, any city without the following 10 things, ein talmid chacham rashay loder b'sochi, you can't have a talmid chacham live there. And what are the 10 things? Bezdin makin va'onshin, you have to have a court that gives punishments, that gives lashes and punishments. V'kupa shel tzedakah, and then you have the tzedakah, the charity box, nigvis b'shnayim, that's collected with 2 people, u'mischalekas b'shloshin, the money is distributed with 3 people. Ubeis hakneses, ubeis hamerchatz, ubeis hakisei, and you have to have a synagogue, and you have to have a bathhouse, and you have to have a beis hakisei, a public bathroom. Rofe v'uman v'lavler, and you have to have a doctor, and a bloodletter, and a scribe. U'melame tinokos, and you have to have a school teacher. Mishum Rabbi Akiva amru, and in the name of Rabbi Akiva they said, af mina pira, you also have to have different kinds of fruits. Mimnei pira me'irin esoyinayim, because different kinds of fruits, they brighten the eyes. And Rashi explains, again, the Gemara said, any city without 10 things, the Talmud Chacham can't live there. Asara Devarim, the 10 items, Bezdin v'hagaboin mechalken lahem, the Bezdin, and then also the collection of the tzedakah and the distribution of the tzedakah, v'havalu tzlas mili, that's 3 of the 10. Rofe is lamol tinokos, the Rofe is in order to give bris milah, Uman is make his dam, and Uman is a blood letter, Lavlor, a scribe, lichtov svarim, to write svarim, Kupa nigvis b'shnayim u'mischalekas b'shlosha. Again, we said the charity box, the tzedakah, is collected with 2 and distributed with 3. Taima mefarish b'ashutfin, the reasons given in ashutfin. Bezdin makin v'chovshin, again back to the first of the 10 items. The first was Bezdin. Hachashvina lulael de'ika Sanhedrin. Now that already was counted above. That's the Sanhedrin, so that's not going to add. We had 114 and we need to get to 120. The Bezdin we already have included in the Sanhedrin. So Goven u'mechalkin, now the Goven and Mechalkin, the collecting and distributing the tzedakah, was done by 2 and 3 people. Havalu chamisha, that's 2 plus 3 is a total of 5. We're missing 6. Chamisha mishisa debatzri la'el. Again, we had 114. Now we're adding 5 for the collecting and the distributing of the tzedakah. Now we just need 1 more. And rofe v'uman v'lavlor melamed. Rashi says the rofe uman lavlor melamed, the doctor, the blood letter, the scribe, and the teacher, that could be chad gavra havelochalhani. That could be one person doing all of those things, and that's why you need a minimum of 120 people to have a Sanhedrin. And the Gemara continues with the 2 dots. Reb Nechem Yomer v'chulu, in the Mishnah of Nechemia said that the city needs to have 230 people to have a Sanhedrin, because each one of the 23 judges is in charge, so to speak, of 10 people. It's considered to be like they're officers of the 10s, and so therefore 23 times 10 is 230. And the Gemara says, Tanya, we learned in a Brisa, Rebbe Yomer, Rebbe says, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Yud Ches Amud Aleph.